Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Confession. Story 2. I robbed my 8th grade teacher's candy basket in 2012. When I was in 8th I was put in a continuation class. I was always known to hang out with the bad kids, smoked weed, ditched school. Would literally kidnap others by gang rushing them, picking them up and throwing them in bushes. Never did my homework, rode BMX bikes all day. Well, my teacher would give out candy for getting right answers or doing something good. I never got any, so me and my buddy decided enough was enough and planned the candy heist. Our classroom had a side door from where we would enter and leave, but also had a back door where we would stand outside if we were bad, or she would let us read outside in the back. At times our classroom was at the very back at the school, so nobody could ever really see anything that would go on. For the heist we slipped a thin piece of bark at the back door so it wouldn't shut all the way. We waited till the end of the day for after school hours. We snuck in and raided her desk. Well done, heist! We made away with Snickers, Sour Patch Kids, Dots candy pack, you name it. But now that I'm older the guilt is kinda getting to me. Even though it's funny. The look on my teacher's face was priceless. Story 3. I blamed someone else for my car damage and he paid to fix it. This is 7 or 8 years back. One night me along with my mates got bit drunk. It was actually bad. I wasn't in good shape but still thought of driving back home. As I started and moved out of parking, the driver's side mirror smashed with another car. Not sure how much the other car was damaged, but I left. I was drunk and not in 100% sense and honestly didn't even realize what has happened. Anyhow, next day realized that my driver's side mirror is damaged and needs to be replaced. I looked around and the parts were expensive, so slowly the idea fizzled out. Anyhow, cut to 7 to 8 months after this, one day I parked my car and went to grab a coffee and this guy reverse parks beside me and while reversing scratches the same area, and by time I am back to my car with my coffee. So I just started to claim that the mirror was perfect before and that while reversing he must have damaged my car. He then finally agrees to pay instead of going through insurance, or maybe he didn't had insurance. I felt bad but ended up taking the money. Story 4. That time where I relentlessly booby-trapped my sister countless time. When I was still young, I watched a lot of YouTube video about pranks, like a lot, and since that I was inspired and did many like that on my own. Bucket on top of a half-open door, Aria toothpaste, explosive ink pen, and many others. But one time, I tried to get my sisters to step onto a piece of Lego, so I placed hidden Lego pieces everywhere she usually went, the entrance of the bathroom, next to her bed and even her door. To my surprise at work, she is bewildered each time and is reasonably angry at me for doing it. I stopped doing it, but after a years I have a little brother now, so an idea pop on my head, so I placed booby trap Lego pieces yet again, and my little bro got the blame from my sister. I chuckled as my little bro gets scolded and is grounded for a crime he didn't commit. Conclusion: my little bro is mischievous as I was when I was a kid. My little sister thought I stopped since she thought I matured, so that how it happened LMAO. Story 5. When I was in 10th grade I brought the remaining beers of the 6-pack to my class. While going to school my friend said, "Let's ditch and cut class today." I agreed and we decided to go drinking and play guitar. After about 3 hours we were hungry and decided to get lunch from school, because cheap. When we came on campus we were all drunk, but it wasn't lunchtime yet and we had one more 6-pack left, so we took 3 each. He went to his class and I went to mine. I was holding the pack of 3, went to sit down, the teacher was writing on the board. All my friends were looking at me, freaking out, bringing beer to class. I opened one and slammed it in seconds. The teacher turned around, looked at me. Bloodshot, red glassy eyes, and said, "You can't drink soda in class." Everyone was laughing. "Okay teach, I not drinking any more soda." She saw the pack with the picture of the beer and said, "My name, are you drinking alcohol in my class?" "No. It's only soda." She walked up to me, I smelled like a brewery, and said, "Go to the office right now." "No, I have to go school." "Okay, I'm going to the VPS office. After she left I drank one more beer, then ran to the parking lot. There's part 2 to this true story that didn't end well for me. Story 6. When I was 10 I may have permanently damaged the hearing of a much smaller child. When I was an older kid, maybe 10, I was hanging out with the neighborhood kids. Well, there was this little one, probably around 6 or so, that followed us around. One day, we were running around shooting empty BB guns at each other. We would just cock it and pull the trigger. No BB came out, but it made a muffled sort of thumping sound. Anyway, at some point, I put the muzzle of one of the pistols in the 6-year-old's ear and pulled the trigger at point-blank range. I will never forget the confused look on his face like, "Why did you do that?" He cried and ran home, but the rest of us just thought he was being a wuss because he was little, so we went on with our day. Well, even though the BB pistol wasn't loaded, that burst of air ruptured his eardrum. His dad talked to my dad, and I lied about it, of course, scared to death. That kid never came back outside and we moved away a few months later, unrelated. I am in my mid-30s and I still think of that kid. I wonder if his hearing is permanently damaged. I hate that I never apologized, I hate how I took no responsibility, and I hate how cowardly I was to lie to my dad about it. It fills me with so much shame. Story 7. When a friend and I were teenagers we stole D&D books for my local bookstore. So we're in the bookstore looking at D&D books and the lady behind the counter gets a phone call. We hear her say, "Just a minute, I'll go in the back and look." She goes all the way into the back room, closes the door behind her and leaves my friend and me in the store unattended, so we started shoving books in our pants and ran out the door. This was like 30 years ago. The store has been out of business for years and I don't even remember the name of the place, so I don't see how I can pay anyone for the books I stole. Story 8. I stole $5,000 from my grandpa and gave it away at school. I stole $5,000 from my grandpa in 5th grade and gave it away to people at school, and my parents found out. It haunts me till this day. I did it to my own family. My grandpa never found out because my parents kept it a secret from him to save our relationship. My parents still hate me for it. Story 9. I lied to my friends, but this time I've taken it too far. So pretty much, I've always wanted to fit in and for people to like me. So I have lied about having my first kiss, things I have, and things like that. This time however it's different, I've lied about me getting my hair dyed. Hear me out, okay? I've dyed my hair a few times, and I haven't done it in a while, so this was pretty new to me. So I dyed my hair purple for my high school's field day, and my best friend's favorite color happens to be purple. So I text her, telling her about how I'm going to dye my hair and crap like that. Here's where you can start to piece it together, a little bit. So my mom dyed my hair, right? The next day I wake up and my hair feels like a mold. I couldn't shape it, so I took a shower and cleaned all the dye out. But then I realized my friends might get mad at me. So yeah. However, I explained to them what happened and they believe me. I know, it's not that interesting. Story 10. I stole a mint julep cup from a restaurant last night. I was out with friends at a fancy rooftop bar and I ordered a mint julep. As we were enjoying life, my friend saw how pretty the cup was and told me to put it in my pocket because she wanted to take it home for herself. I was drinking, so I didn't have the best critical thinking. Now that I've woken up, I feel a little nervous. I feel like they noticed. I don't know if anyone else ordered a mint julep or any drink that uses that cup, and I'm sure they had cameras. I don't live in that area anymore, so I don't know how worried I should be. Story 11. I skipped school because I did not want to write a test. What happened is exactly what I wrote in title. Yesterday I was such a fricking idiot. I didn't start to study until 11 p.m. Obviously by the time I went to bed, 11:30, I didn't know it. All because I didn't get off Reddit and YouTube. I am badly addicted, but no one seems to take me seriously because it isn't drugs or alcohol or slot machines or whatever. At this point I am completely resigned and I just let things happen to me. I feel trapped in my life. Anyways, I lied to my parents and I told them that I tried learning it and that I don't get it, not that I didn't even try. Under the guise of being stupid and not just being lazy, I pretended to go to a doctor, my parents excusing me through online platform our school uses. I skipped the class when I was supposed to take the test and class before that, to avoid suspicion. Now I sort of regret it and I am afraid someone will catch me. I did some calculations and concluded that even with a 0 I wouldn't fail, though I must admit that 56% isn't really something I would be proud of, but I would take it over this guilt. Last night it was hard to sleep. I think I finally fell asleep at little bit after 1 AM. I was stressed and kept thinking of my life and everything that was happening. I honestly never thought I would be skipping school for something rudimentary like this. I used to look down on those who do it. I have been seriously disappointed with myself lately. I no longer pay attention in school. Although I am not usually on my phone during lessons, I tend to pretend to not have any problems with this. I make sure to not be on my phone during school as much as I can. It feels like I can't do anything but waste my life away on internet. I don't do any homework because I don't want to waste my precious minutes I could spend browsing. Sometimes I can't even read fully content of what will be on test as I need to look at internet while studying. I am ashamed to tell anyone about this. I don't even know how this habit, or rather addiction, started. I just know that I am at fault for not ending it sooner, when I could. Story 12. In the past year I've unwillingly released nearly 30 animals into the wild. TLDR, traveled 800 miles to visit dying elderly relatives that had rampant feral cat breeding problem in their home. They struggled getting resources due to cat and bed bug infestations. No rescues would take the feral cats as they are feral indoor/outdoor cats. Social services are moving relatives into a facility now. Over Memorial Day weekend, I experienced a situation involving nearly 20 to 30 cats, and now, I am a firm believer that releasing them into the wild is a better option and/or plan than nothing at all. Let's journey back in time to 2020, when my elderly great-aunt Beatrice and Uncle Jack, names changed of course, welcomed a female cat into their home who showed up on their doorstep hungry and meowing away. They live in a somewhat rural area of a small city, 20,000 people, in the Midwest about 150 miles from Chicago Metro. Unbeknownst to them, the cat was pregnant and, within a matter of days, gave birth to 4 kittens. Uncle Jack is extremely allergic to cats and the dander from the fur causes him to develop severe rashes throughout his body. Aunt Beatrice did everything she could to find the kittens new homes, but ultimately could not part with 2 of them, keeping a total of 3 cats in the home. Then, the mother cat escaped beyond one of them when they opened the door to get the mail, only to return about 6 months later, 2021, pregnant. This time, the mother cat gave birth to a whole new litter of 4 kittens, making a total of 7 cats in the home. Aunt Beatrice again got to work trying to find a way to adopt out the kittens, but during the pandemic, shelters and resources were maxed out as people were returning their pandemic pets for the sake of living or work obligations. She was only able to adopt out 1 kitten, keeping 6 cats in the home. And this time, Aunt Beatrice managed to get the mother cat spayed at the local vet, but couldn't afford any other spay/neuter care for the other 5 cats. Thinking that the rest of the cats would never leave their home, one of the female kittens escaped into the wild, returning months later pregnant with her first litter of 4 kittens. Now, they had 10 cats in the home, and it was becoming more challenging caring for them. The original female cat was officially a grandmother. Uncle Jack began suffering from very serious allergies and feeling sick/ill more frequently. Again, all of the local rescues, humane societies, and even animal control turned them down when they called for help. Within a matter of a month or so, the daughter of the grandmother cat escaped again, returning to give birth to another set of kittens. She did this another 3 times in 2022 alone. By the end of 2022, they had nearly 16 cats and/or kittens in their home. Christmas 2022, I came to visit them and stayed with them for a week. I called everywhere within the Tri-County area and even out of state to get help for these cats, and everyone was unable to help. Aunt Beatrice was covered in cat scratches and bites, complaining that they jump and run across her in the middle of the night. Uncle Jack had very serious rashes, and to make matters worse, developed liver failure and had now begun end-of-life care with hospice. Aunt Beatrice wanted to keep them all, Uncle Jack wanted to be rid of them. Family and friends alike advised to kill them ourselves or wait it out. One family friend offered to feed the cats to their pet snake. Out of time and out of options, I waited for a warm winter's day, a series of days where the weather was 50 to 60 degrees. My partner and I drove around for hours, searching for rural area with lots of barns or a small village of houses away from major roads. There, I released 3 cats into the wild. And into the woods they ran. It was all we could grab/find in the house, the rest were scattered and so hard to catch. I, too, was out of time. We returned home and scheduled our return visit for the spring. In that 6 months, only 2 more sets of litters were born or so we thought. Aunt Beatrice donated them to the church clergyman who showed up to pray for her at the house. A few of the teenage Jehovah's Witnesses took 3 of the kittens. Others ran away and/or escaped from the open door during mail time, never to be seen again. Anyone she could pawn them off onto was welcome to have as many as they could take. In recent weeks, we came back to visit and help declutter their home. Things are worse than ever before. The smell was immediately sickening. Adult Protective Services made it clear that the cats had to go. Animal Control refused to come pick them up. We don't even come out for cats anymore, they said. Everyone is booked and full to the brim, resources maxed out. Local vets charge $500 to do a spay or neuter, or wait more than a month to get on the list for the Humane Society or the Spay Express at $150/cat. It's a lot of money that we don't have to spend on more than 20 plus cats. We found between 12 to 16 cats/kittens and 2 of them were no longer alive on the enclosed back porch, which was so heartbreaking to find. So, with the sun high in the sky and winter long gone, we began the venture of releasing the cats into the wild yet again. We released 7 cats in the first few days, all of which were never friendly or touched by a human. Cats are very intelligent and are rather elusive to catch and/or trap. One of the last ones caught kept hiding under the kitchen sink, but we released her. The next morning, we found 4 more newborn kittens trapped under a drawer in the kitchen. We think they belonged to the cat that would return to that cabinet often, the one we had already released. We struggled so much with trying to feed the kittens, they just wouldn't take the kitten formula. In a 100-mile radius, we called every single rescue. Everyone was full. We don't have the financial means to pay for vet costs, and they are hefty. My great-aunt and uncle couldn't afford it either. We were preparing to watch these kittens pass away from starvation as our every effort failed, and we were completely lost. Finally, nearly 2 days after we had already released the mother cat, we found a rescue about 120 miles away that could take all of the kittens, just the kittens. And so, we traveled across state lines and delivered them into the hands of people who could help, thanking them immensely for their care. Lastly, we tried again for help with the remaining 5 cats to no avail. No one had room or returned our calls. We released the last 4 cats into remote areas or very small rural towns, off main roads. We released the cats in sets of 2 to 4 each time so they wouldn't be alone or could hunt/survive together. At least they may have a shot at finding a forever home on a farm than they would being starved to death on a hot enclosed porch or worse. Uncle Jack has been doing much better without the cats. He's been having much better days. We feel confident the worst of his illness and symptoms came from his high allergy to the cats. The cleanup continues, though. The oldest cat, the one who started this all 3 years ago, ran away during the process. Maybe she might return, maybe not. Who knows? At least she was spayed. You know, even Chicago intentionally released feral cats onto their streets just for the sake of getting rid of rodent infestation. Cats are accustomed to wild. So, I'd like to think that they are taking care of any mouse problems in the small towns they now reside in. And hopefully, someone may have found themselves an outdoor pet or domesticated one of them. Do I have any regrets? No, I don't think so. If ever anyone else finds themselves in a situation where they have cats they can't care for and know where to turn, I may advocate for releasing to the wild, albeit maybe spaying or neutering first, if possible. If you ever found yourself in this situation, I completely understand why you released it into the wild instead of intentionally having it euthanized or turned into food for something else. No judgment whatsoever. It is what it is. Nearly everyone online will tell you to wait it out for help. I'm here to say that in the worst of situations, sometimes, help never arrives. Sometimes, you have to save yourself, or the ones you love. And that's okay. If you were me, what could you have done differently? Update: so a few things to be clarified here. I do not live with these relatives. They live alone. The rest of the family moved away over the past 30 years, including me, as the town has very little work beyond medical careers. They have been abandoned by the family. Maybe the cat fermentation has been keeping them going, I don't know. Cats are all outdoor/feral cats that come in/out of the house with no restrictions, not touched by relatives. They literally only play with or pet the first cat. The others are all non-human friendly and bite or attack people. The county animal control and the Humane Society refused several of them at the door. None of the rescues would take anything but baby kittens because they are considered feral. None of them. They are all feral/wild and not people friendly. The two that got trapped on the back porch by the hospice nurse? They didn't even know they were on the back porch. Otherwise, they would have been outside, too. The closest vet clinic does actually cost $500. They charge office visit costs, costs for anesthesia, pain medications, use of tools, etc. Seriously, I saw the bill for the first cat and got quotes from them for bringing in 5 cats the first time. They wanted nearly $2,500. That's more than they make on SS in a month. I don't have that kind of money. I called at least 70 different phone numbers to find a place for those kittens. Most went to voicemails. A lot of rescues only work via email. I had dying/starving kittens that I could not figure out how to properly feed. I called everyone on Google Maps across more than 150 miles. Literally had to travel 120 miles to the place that finally did take them. And to make matters worse, this was during Memorial Day weekend. Everyone was closed. They were all released in areas that were about 40 to 50 miles away from their house, but there's always a possibility they will return as they probably know their way home as they have been indoor/outdoor cats their entire lives. It won't matter though because they are being moved to a nursing facility this month, but still. I'm not sure what else I could have done. Update 2, I never want to be in this situation again. I wish my great-uncle and aunt were never in this situation, either. We spent hours on the phone trying to connect with anyone would help, but no help came. It was horrible timing with a holiday weekend. I'm still getting calls from rescues we called and left a voicemail with, so I changed some details to avoid being identified. I chose human life over the lives of the cats, but even then, I couldn't bring myself to take their lives or feed them to snakes. I can't just kill something like that, but I guess there are many who can do so easily. I let nature decide their fate as nature had brought the first cat to their door years ago. If I had to choose between cats and human lives, I'd probably choose the safety and livelihood of my great-uncle and aunt again and again. I wish their adult kids would have helped out because they actually have the financial means to do so, but don't. My great-aunt's son lives only 45 minutes away from them and went no contact a while back. He could have helped, but he never wants to see them again and even asked if they were dead yet. I did my best to make things right for the sake of my grandma's memory with the resources I had. I wish it had been different and they could have found loving homes and been rehabilitated by people, and maybe they will be someday. There are lots of farms in every area they were released. We even saw some cats wandering freely in a few areas. I feel hopeful that they may have a chance at a better life just as my great uncle and aunt now finally do, too. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.